In today's video, I want to talk about the 5 training mistakes that kill muscle growth. And the truth is, most people train hard, but they still struggle to build muscle. And there are only a few common mistakes that will just completely kill hypertrophy. If you're making even just one of these mistakes, your muscle gains could be cut in half. Today, I'm breaking down 5 training mistakes that stop muscle growth. Mistake number 1 is guys are just not training close enough to failure. Now, training to failure and muscle growth requires high muscle fiber recruitment. And this only really happens when you train close to muscular failure. So you don't want to stop your sets too early. A lot of guys, they stop between 3 to 5 sets. You want to go a little bit higher, and you want to stop with just about 2 or 1 more set left in reserve. You don't want to go to complete failure. It's not necessary, especially if you don't have a spotter. It's very, very dangerous. You could get injured. So if you can just stop 2 or 1 set before failure, that will be enough to trigger hypertrophy. Now, mistake number 2 is that guys lift too fast. There's no control. And I talked about this in a previous video that you need mechanical tension. You need complete command and control of the actual weight. And it's driven by mechanical tension. When you control the weight on both the positive or the concentric phase and control the weight also, more importantly, on the eccentric or the lower part, you build mechanical tension on both the concentric and the eccentric phases. And a lot of lifters, they're just so interested in how much they're lifting that they want to go really high, really fast, use force to lift the weight. And then when the weight comes down, they just relax and use that as a break, as if the force that they used to lift the weight was enough. However, they're leaving a lot of opportunity on the table to both control the positive and, more importantly, and highly overlooked, the negative part using controlled, slow, eccentric reps. I would recommend slowing it down to about 2 to 3 seconds if you can. And like I said, have full control of the weight. A common useful way to think about this is you want to have a good tempo. Usually 1 second up on the concentric and then about 2 to 3 seconds down when gravity is pulling the weight down. You want to control it and you want to resist it. It's that very resistance is causing mechanical tension and essentially breaking more muscle under mechanical tension. Mistake number 3, why most guys are not building muscle, and one of the mistakes that kill growth, is that they're not using progressive overload. And like I said, from week to week, you're going to get stronger. You can't just keep lifting the same amount of weight after week 6, 7, 8, and you're still on the same weight. And yes, it'll get easier. And because it gets easier, you have to increase either the weight, increase the reps, increase the number of sets, have better form, increase mechanical tension. And in reality, you can actually use all of those 5 variables. More weight, more reps, more sets, controlled form, and using more mechanical tension, particularly in the eccentric phase of the lift. And week to week, the easy way to think about it is you want to look at one control variable. Yes, you can do all 5, but just really choose 1 or 2. Either increase the weight, increase the sets, increase the reps, have better form and contraction, mind-muscle connection, and have more mechanical tension on the muscle. That'll really, really get you really far by applying the progressive load philosophy. Mistake number 4 that really kills muscle growth, that's poor mind-muscle connection. Not having the contraction, not really focusing and having an intention about what type of muscle you're looking to work, where the weight is being loaded, what muscle is being particularly loaded. It's not about just lifting the weight from point A to point B. This isn't a powerlifting channel, and if you want to watch powerlifting YouTube channels, there's a ton of them out there. This is not one of them. This is about hypertrophy. It's not just getting the weight from point A to point B in a competitive environment like weightlifting in the Olympics. This is about muscular growth and building the most amount of muscle in your body. So you have to make sure not to recruit other muscles when you're focusing on a particular weight. So one example would be curls. When you're doing a bicep curl, you don't want to use momentum. You don't want to just swing the weight around just like this. You need a mind-muscle connection, which means that slow down the weight, be intentional with the weight. When you come up on the concentric phase, really contract your biceps because you know, hey, this is what I'm working, the biceps. And then when you bring down the weight, also slow it down. Don't just you bring the weight up and you just relax and bring it down. You need to slow down the weight to get the benefit of breaking down muscle fibers on the eccentric phase. And you really need to feel the muscle contract. That's the key, muscular contraction, and using a controlled tempo. And if you can't get full control of the weight, you need to lower the weight. Yes, it will be a hit on your ego that you couldn't lift more the next week, but you need to put that ego aside and you need to focus and prioritize controlling the weight first and using slightly higher or lower weight, slightly lower weight to get command and control of the mind-muscle connection. And that leads me to my last item, mistake number 5, that's killing your ability to grow muscle, and that's ego lifting. And this is a tough one, especially for me in the beginning. It was really tough. I was overly focused on the weight, and I think a lot of guys can relate to this, that they overly focus on the weight, even if it means cheat reps. They just get a big ego boost that they said, oh, I can now bench 225, or I can now squat 300. That they're going to cheat the movement. They're going to use that stretch reflex at the bottom to help them use momentum to lift the weight, just to show that, hey, I lift this weight. And you really have to think about, what is it that your intention is? Are you trying to power lift, or are you trying to build muscle? If your goal is building muscle and hypertrophy, then I encourage you to lower the weight. Don't ego lift. Don't swing the weights. And get a full range of motion. And that's another thing, that because they increase the weight, they can't get a full range of motion anymore. They just want to prove to themselves that they can lift more weight. So you want to make sure that you lower the weight if you can't get the full range of motion. Stop using momentum, and don't lose control on the eccentric phase. That's another sign you're ego lifting, is you can get it up, but then when you bring it down, it's like so super heavy that you can't even control it anymore, and you just let the weight down because it's super heavy. So the goal is muscular tension, not impressing others in the gym, which you don't even know who these people are. So the key factors of muscle growth, and I went over this in another video, is number 1, mechanical tension, number 2, metabolic stress, and 3, muscle damage. And you can watch that video that I made about the 3 primary factors of muscle growth, and I go into detail about the science and about the philosophy behind those 3 factors. Now, if you want to build an athletic physique while staying lean, please, of course, subscribe to my channel. I'll have more videos being released every week. And also will break down the science of muscle growth and fat loss for busy professionals. For those of you that don't have a lot of time, I can also explain and provide you with workouts where you can get done in 45 minutes or less. So please subscribe. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button. Please share this video and the information on this channel if you found it useful for yourself, and I really appreciate that. And I'll see you guys on the next one.